So for your benefit, here is a quick condition report on both of these VX cruisers. I just want to give you a quick overview of any imperfections that might be on them, so there are of course no surprises when you show up, and of course give you a quick start test. Now these are inside, and it's awfully cold outside, so we're not doing a lake test, but I'll be happy to start them inside, and it being a 4-stroke water cooled, we can only run them for about 5 to 8 seconds before they overheat, but I'd be happy to start them up just so you can at least see that they do start. Now currently they've been sitting inside for a few months, so they do have some like water spots, stuff like that, but this of course will clean right up, so don't worry about stuff like that. Let me give you a quick overview of any conditional issues. The biggest flaw I see on this one is on the port side. We've got a ding in the rub rail right here. It's a fairly decent ding. Of course, pretty easy to do when you come in and hit a dock, something like that. Now, the rubber under this rub rail is still in perfect shape, and there's no way for this to intrude into the hull. So this is purely cosmetic, and it's really not that bad. I mean, it's not very much of a cosmetic kit. You can barely see it unless you're really looking for it, but that is indeed a visible flaw, and just wanted to make you aware of that. You've got some very, very minor surface scratching on the front of these, which is totally normal. I'd still put these in a fantastic shape for a used watercraft. It's very rare to come across one of these that doesn't have scuffs all over the front and stuff like that. So this has no major scuffing other than these little tiny scratches in the front and a little tiny ding in the sticker right here. So these are in great shape. Now you'd express concern about the hull, and of course the hull is where any major damage would occur if they'd hit any rocks or roots or anything major like that. So just a quick overview of the hull, and again, it's got a little bit of water spotting here, so I'm sorry, but this will of course clean up when we do our final cleaning for you. But yeah, no major scuffs or scratches or anything like that. You've got some very, very, very minor surface scratching here. Looks to me like probably they had a jet dock, one of those drive-on plastic docks, and that's probably what this scuffing is. It's extremely minor and purely cosmetic, and hasn't gone nowhere near even through the glass, let alone into the actual hull itself. So the hull itself is in fantastic shape. No major dings, scuffs, nothing that looks anything near a crack or anything like that. So they're in perfect shape. On the other skis, same thing. You've got some minor scuffing in the front right here where they've run into the dock or hit a jet dock or something like that. Right here you've got a very minor paint scratch, and again it's just through the glass. It's not a big deal. I don't imagine it'll get worse unless you hit it. But it is indeed a small ding in the front, basically where the paint has chipped off, whether they hit metal or went keel to keel or something like that. But a very normal thing we see on wave runners, and I can certainly get you some touch-up paint if you want to touch it up cosmetically, but from a running standpoint it won't get worse with repeated use, so I'm not too worried about that. That's purely a cosmetic issue. And then of course some minor scuffing and scratching and stuff like that, but honestly very, very minor. When you look away from that, you barely see it. So for a used wave runner, these are in fantastic shape. And then of course if you go below and look at the hull on this one, same thing. We've got very, very, very minor scuffing from where it hit, say a jet dock, stuff like that. Little tiny stuff like that, but no major dings, no major scratches, certainly no cracks or pock marks or anything like that. No evidence that they've ever hit ground or hit anything bad on them, so definitely in good shape. On the inside footwell of this one, we've got very minor ghosting, and we'll see if we can't buff that out, but it's just very, very, very minor ghosting. Whether they may have once used the improper cleaning materials or let this particular part sit out in the sun longer than that other parts, I'm not certain, but it's just very, very minor discoloration in a swatch about this wide across the top. It is very minor, and probably something you won't really catch unless you're really looking for it, but just wanted to make you completely aware of absolutely any issues we find on. Usually we find on used wave runners this back hydro matting has started to tear apart. People aren't always as careful as they should be on these, and they often don't use their bare feet, but these are actually in really good shape. No major scuffing or scratching. On the other one over here, we've got one very, very minor little compression ding right here, but other than that, the hydroturf's in perfect shape. Going down the line on both units, they're in very good shape. Again, there's some dirt spots and whatnot, and it looks like maybe some oil residue on this one, but of course we'll take care of all that when we do our final cleaning. But as far as dings or scratches, nothing. On the back rub rail, same thing. This rub rail's in great shape. Usually we see these pretty dinged up and used ones, so I'm psyched to see it like this. You've got two minor issues on this one. A very small crimping in the back right here. Looks like they probably just hit a dock or something like that. On the other side, you've got a minor scuff mark right here, and that's about it. The rest of the compression looks just fine. no major dings or scratches. So again, you do have some very small surface imperfections, like you've got this little tiny scuff right here. But again, in the grand scheme of things, it is a very, very small scuff. I just want to make you aware. The covers themselves that come with the machines have a little bit of molding and whatnot to it. We'll try to clean these off as best as we can. Well, we can't get it perfect, but we should get most of this black stuff at least somewhat mitigated. It's not a big deal. It hasn't degraded the material in any way, shape, or form, and the waterproofing still seems to work just fine. It's just the covers have obviously slid out in the outside. It looks like they protected the machines, but they didn't keep the machines themselves under covered lots. So not a big deal. Material is still working fine, but just wanted to give you an idea on that one. As far as the inside of the machines, on both the engines, no major signs of anything. Again, they both have very low hours, so no major signs of wear or tear. All vents, hoses, etc. are in great shape. We just put in brand new batteries and brand new oil and spark plugs last fall. So as far as service is concerned, this vehicle is ready to go for the next 100 hours. It's going to be a bit tricky to see on this video, of course, but this is an intro into the impeller. The impeller is in perfect shape. No scuffs or scratches or dings or any signs of rock or root intrusion or anything like that. So impellers are in perfect shape. These are stainless steel impellers in the Yamahas, as well as an aluminum and stainless inner core. So it's pretty hard to really mess these up. You really got to kind of work at it. But just to give you a FYI, this is in great shape. I'll move on to the next. Next unit, same situation. Stainless steel impeller is in perfect shape. The ring itself is in perfect shape. No major scuffs or tears or signs of rock intrusion or anything like that. Impeller's in perfect shape. And then for the start test, again, we can't run these too long out of the water. It's a bit cold to be taking them to the water today. But just to give you a quick overview, here's the one. Fires right up and runs. Runs just fine. I'll move the other one. And here's the other one. This one also runs great. Starts right up. Runs just fine. Now, of course, we want to make sure you're going to be 100% satisfied with these units when you get here. So when we get a firm delivery date, we'll get everything cleaned up. We'll get everything water tested and ready to rock. Make sure it's 100%. And of course, we'll definitely provide you with a water test when you get here, should you so desire. Be more than happy to let you go out and try both units just to ensure that they're working just as perfectly as they can and that you don't have any issues with them. We'll also test all the trailer lights, make sure those are working properly. We'll test the air in the two tires as well as the spare tire. We'll check the hubs to make sure those are in good shape. We'll torque down all the bolts. We'll make sure these are absolutely in tip-top shape for you. But just to give you an idea of the overview of the condition, both of them start and run perfectly. Both of them have just been serviced, so your next service interval is 100 hours, and really all that is oil and filter and some grease. Both of them are in cosmetically very, very good shape, with a few minor dings and scuffs and whatnot, but honestly, for used wave runners, it's kind of rare to find ones that are this well taken care of. As far as the innards, the engines are in great shape. There's no signs of any damage. The pumps are in perfect shape. There's no sign of any scuffing or scraping or rock intrusion or anything like that. So from an overall condition standpoint, they're great. They're in just about perfect shape, and I hope you love them. Thank you much.